All right, everyone, this is Norvellcentral coming back at you with another YouTube video. And at this time of the recording, I have about 1,600 and so subscribers. So be sure to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to like the video, comment your thoughts on my topic that I'm about to show up. And everything that's going on right now, you see the official visitors and you see they're kind of wrapping up their visits today before the Seminoles take the field for bowl practice. And then Mike Norvell is going to go out to see some prospects a little bit later. There is a lot that's going on, and Micah Pittman actually talked about in one of his media conferences that he had yesterday after practice. He talked about basically Florida State's chances and kind of talking about the 23 season next year. And he even quoted and saying, if we don't win a national championship or we don't compete for a national championship, then the season is definitely not an accomplished season for us. When you look at that, man, it seems like I don't want to be a Miami fan because, like I said, you got to crawl before you can walk. This Florida State team really was firing on all cylinders at that point. They won 5 in a row to end the season at 9-3. They have a bowl game against Oklahoma and potentially have a 10-win season. But you weren't really in contention for the ACC championship. I mean, you lost to Clemson, North Carolina State, and Wake Forest, so you were kind of out of that race a little bit earlier as mid-October started to happen. And, you kind of look at it. I think if Florida State had some injuries go their way, especially with Fabian Lovett and jaredverse, I think it could be a potential, but you can't say a what if and what could. But I will say that with the schedule for next season, you have an LSU, you have your Southern Miss, North Alabama, and then also Florida. And then you're looking at your conference games with Boston College, Clemson, Miami, Syracuse, Wake Forest, Duke, Virginia Tech, and Pittsburgh. Now, that ACC slate is not really that impressive. You could definitely agree that Miami is always going to be a competitive game, even with as bad as we beat them last year or this past season. And then you got to look at Florida. That's always a tough place to play, even though they only finished 6-6 with Anthony Richardson possibly leaving for the NFL draft, as he talked about before. And then you also got LSU and Orlando. There are some key pivotal moments there. But that home slate that we have, with the Southern Miss, North Alabama, Miami, Syracuse, Duke, and Virginia Tech with the 6 there, that's an easy home slate. I mean, you could kind of get through that home slate pretty easily. We'll see what Pittsburgh is later on. You got to play them at Pittsburgh. We'll see where that schedule lines up. Hopefully it's not at the end of November when it's getting cold over there and everything like that. But it's just kind of shaping up. I mean, you look at the roster that we've got so far. I mean, Travis is coming back, Trey Benson's coming back, Toa Philly's coming back. You even got receivers like Johnny Wilson and Micah Pittman and Portier and McLean and guys like that are coming back, and even Ja'Kai Douglas, who I think was beneficial later in the season after he got healthy. You are losing some pieces. You're losing an Ontario Wilson. You've even got guys on the defense side of the ball that I think could be potentially leaving. I think it really comes down to, jaredverse. He's a potential first-round pick. We'll see if he leaves. I actually posted up a video about that earlier this week. You talk about a Fabian Lovett. Will he be coming back? He's got a smaller son that he's trying to provide for and everything. Will he be able to get the necessary resources at Florida State, or will it be more beneficial for him to go to the NFL draft and test out his waters there? You got a guy like Tatum Bethune who's coming back, a veteran leader. But then you're kind of looking at the secondary. Jamie Robinson, that's a big question mark at the safety position. If he's unable to go, he accepted a Senior Bowl invite just like Fabian Lovett did. We'll see if he does go. Will he go 4th, 3rd-round pick? Would that be enough to incentivize, going to the NFL? That's a big obstacle. So those are 3 big defenders right there that you're looking at. I mean, the offensive side of the ball, you're pretty much okay. I mean, you got Gibbons and Emmanuel that are leaving, and also Jazz Turntine. So you have to look for options there. Ontario Wilson was our 2nd leading receiver. At that point, you have to kind of replace his production. But just overall, Cam McDonald at the tight end position, you're having to get some of those unproven tight ends and kind of swing them up. We'll see if there's any more departures after the bowl game on December 29th. But when it's all shaping up and looking like it, man, if you have 1 out of 3 of Verse, Fabian Lovett, and Jamie Robinson come back, that would be a scary, scary situation there. I think Florida State would definitely benefit from having that. And I think this is a team that's ready and capable of having that moment. But like I said, they haven't been there in quite some time. So you're trying to figure out how you're going to be able to kind of finish everything. And you have to kind of crawl before you can walk in terms of making these kind of predictions and bold statements. You have to make your play prove what is on the field. So right now, I think Florida State has a good chance to be an ACC contender. But the problem is you have to kind of wait and see how will that LSU game go. Will you have any letdowns set after that? It just kind of depends on how the schedule rolls up. Will we get kind of benefited from some of those games? Because we all talked about it in the offseason during the summer when they kind of devised those schedules together, and you saw that Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson back to back to back. That wasn't a great stretch for Florida State, and it proved not to be on the field. So if Florida State's schedule doesn't really line up with how it's supposed to be in terms of just having it a little bit easier on the Seminoles, I think it could be a problem for Florida State. But they have a confident group. This is a confident group that wants to be successful at Florida State. They believe in Mike Norvell's message. They love to be coached under him. And I think it's going to be kind of that pride and sense of accomplishment if we're able to kind of be in contender. Now, the one good thing is you can look at the ACC right now. They're no longer going to have divisions for the Atlantic and the Coastal. Thank God, because some of those coastal teams that we've had, the 4-4s and, the Miami never getting in and stuff like that was very something. So I think it is deserving to have two of those Atlantic teams if that is set to be. Whoever the best two teams are can be able to be in Charlotte and be able to face off against each other. So that's going to be something that Florida State's going to really have to rely on. But super excited to see how this team kind of responds as they go through this next season with so much expectations on the line. Could be a preseason top 15 team. Preseason rankings don't really matter as much. Just ask Texas A&M. They'll tell you that completely. But I will say that this is a positive direction. The Florida State fans are eager to see their team. And it's just even a wonder that we can say the year before losing to Jacksonville State and going through that 0-4 stretch and then kind of turning the season around, then going into the 22 season and getting a 9-3 record. What a remarkable turnaround to say that you want to be competed for ACC championships, and it's basically championship or bust at this point for the team. That speaks volumes to what Mike Norvell has done in his third season and going into his fourth season as the head coach at the Florida State Seminoles. But I really do appreciate everyone's love and support. I'm trying to put out consistent content. I'm going to have a video later on today with Chris Frazier from Spear Addicts again in terms of a special project that we're going to be doing in terms of one of the visitors. But I do appreciate all the love and the support as always. Be sure to keep up with my updates on my Instagram account at norvellcentral and also my Twitter account at Central Norvell as we kind of go through these official visitors as they conclude their visits and also Florida State starting their practices. But I hope you all have a great rest of the day. And as always, go Noles.